There's a debate raging here in the country on the minimum wage and should we raise it. It seems pretty obvious to me that we ought to be hiking up the minimum wage. But the incredibly tepid President of the United States has now made it clear in a meeting yesterday with the Democratic Senate caucus, in a meeting last night, January 15th, Wednesday night. Obama indicated that he may be willing to use executive action, to issue an executive order to raise the minimum wage for all employees who are working under a federal contract. This would push up the minimum wage for all workers operating under that circumstance to $10.10 an hour. And that, I think, is pretty impressive. So this is from Greg Sargent's piece in the Washington Post, and here's how his piece begins. Here's welcome news, Sargent writes. At his meeting with Democratic senators last night, President Obama indicated he's giving serious consideration to executive action designed to raise the minimum wage for employees of federal contractors, according to one senator who was present. That is just great news. There is a downside to it because there are pros and cons, and the con would be, it's a con I don't believe, but it is one that grown-ups could at least consider, that if you raise the minimum wage up to $10.10 for workers under federal contracts, then you're sending a signal that the battle is won and you leave out the majority of workers who aren't covered by federal contracts. I suspect that it would create momentum, more than likely leave the others out. And the bottom line, if you have a chance to help some people, I think you should go ahead and help those people, because there really isn't momentum to help any of them now among Republicans in Congress. Here's what Bernie Sanders, senator from Vermont, an independent but obviously a member of the Democratic caucus, had to say about it. He says he's very pleased that the president and members of his administration indicated they're giving serious consideration, very serious consideration to this proposal. The president is weighing the pros and cons in terms of the impact on the overall debate. I don't see how we don't think this is good news, and just from a policy point of view, to raise the minimum wage for these workers. And there are, of course, a great number of minimum wage workers working under federal contracts. But it's also good news because it's a bold action by a president who is afraid of bold action, knowing that there's no possible way that he would be able to get this past Republicans in the House. He's just going to do it. And we like that. That's leadership. And I think the country likes that. That's leadership. We also know that contrary to what Fox and most of the mainstream media would have you believe, the American people want the minimum wage raised, even though most of them aren't on the minimum wage. They actually want to help people less fortunate than them, something that polling shows consistently. But again, we're told, it's a center-right country. It's a center-right country, which is, of course, pretty much horseshit.